Hello, this is Chaplain Paul. Live out in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm making this video for the Robert F. Kennedy campaign. Why? Because trying to leave a message on social media is ridiculous. I'd rather make a video and send it to the campaign and then, so you could see me, hear what I have to say, and then decide if that's what you're going to do. Because to sit there and try to type and send out a message is archaic. It gets lost in the shuffle and nobody reads it anyway. So this is for the Kennedy campaign. All right. I've been a healthcare activist for over 30, almost 30 years now. Long-term care ministry for about 15 years, all voluntary, all at my own risk and at my own cost. I'm not a rich person. I go out there and I help people. I do yards. I do odd jobs. So I'm not rich. I'm serving the Lord by being available to those in need. And I wanted to reach out to the campaign to give some suggestions, and you decide if you like them or not. First of all, uh, President Trump and President Biden both broke their oath of office. Probably over 95% of our elected officials broke their oath of office during COVID. They took an oath to defend our constitutional rights, our civil rights, and even, patients' rights and human rights, and it wasn't done. Millions of patients were set in isolation, denied their Ninth Amendment right under the Constitution to have someone who loves them be by their side to protect and love them while sick and suffering. This is critical. Why? To prevent medical mistakes. Make sure their medical wishes are being honored. Make sure they're receiving the love and the compassion and the encouragement we all need to have a fighting chance for survival. Making sure they're getting the comforts of home. Making sure that they're not alone and someone who loves them is by their side to hold their hand. This was all denied, which was a violation of their human rights, civil rights, patients' rights, and constitutional rights under the Ninth Amendment. Okay, covers these rights, and it was denied. Well, why isn't this being talked about? This is the Achilles heel. Okay, this right here will get RFK Jr. elected if he starts talking about these issues. These are our loved ones that were put in these places like animals. All right. And we were hoodwinked into thinking that, oh, this is going to protect them from the virus. Well, who's going to protect the patients from other patients that are violent and staff that are neglective, abusive, and mistreat the patients? Who's going to protect the patient if the loved ones are not in there to do so? Okay. And millions died all alone in isolation. And this is not even being discussed. Our elected officials took an oath. What's the consequences when that oath is broke? They took an oath to uphold the Constitution, protect our civil rights. And what is the consequences when that happens? I can't find any. So there's no consequences. Oh, you break your oath and then oh well, you run the risk of not being elected. Well, that's ridiculous. You break your oath, there should be some type of a penalty. There should be some type of a mechanism that could hold these elected officials accountable when they break their oath and have some type of sanctions. And if need be, remove them from office. All right. That doesn't happen. So, again, all right, bringing this out into the forefront. Our rights matter, our loved ones matter, and they're not being protected in American long-term care. There are no rights in American health care. You don't have any rights if you're all alone. You have no rights. The only rights you have are the ones that you're able to defend, and if you're unable to defend them, you have no rights. Your family members, okay, are the ones that defend your rights in American healthcare. And if you have no family, you're on your own. You have no rights. Millions of patients were force vaxxed during COVID, and they're still being vaxxed, force vaxxed. Okay, look into that issue. All right. Patients that are coma, semi coma, wards of the state were vaxxed. Patients that were all alone and had no family members, okay, were vaxxed against their will. All right. I witnessed it. Okay. It's not right, okay? And it's not even being talked about. So again, do our rights matter? Then I don't understand why this isn't even being discussed, okay? Another thing is RFK's father took it to the people, okay? Traveled around the country and got thousands and thousands of people uh, uh, galvanized and motivated. Why isn't there, organized like a 2 million person, a 2 million American citizen march? Okay, just for truth and justice. Okay, why is there no marches? Why is there no protests? Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Martin Luther King, RFK, Gandhi, Cesar Chavez, and many others, John Lennon. Okay, you got out there and you marched. Where's the marches? I mean, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has got to organize some type of march. And I'm not talking about a rally like Trump does. I'm talking an actual march where you march to Washington, D.C. and have a huge rally at the Lincoln Memorial. Why not? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has said many times in an interview he'd like to get on CNN and MSNBC and these other stations, but they don't want to interview him. Well, how do you get interviewed? You march. They can't ignore it then. If you march and you organize that type of a protest, that type of a movement, then those media outlets can't ignore you. You have a 2 million man march or 2 million person march, 2 million American citizen march for justice and freedom. They can't ignore you. No, just like they couldn't ignore Martin Luther King, or they couldn't ignore Gandhi, and they couldn't ignore Cesar Chavez and all these other people that did these tactics. You're banking on getting support through the internet. You got to take it to the people like your father did. You got to take it to the people. You got to go to the people. Okay. You got to go to their front door. You got to go to where they are and you got to talk to them. All right. And that's what you have to do. It's just sad. It really is sad. Okay. Uh, it's not being talked about that Big Pharma owns most of our elected officials. It's not being talked about. It's not being talked about why this thing was pushed through as quickly as it is, and millions are now suffering with illnesses and might even die as a result of quickly pushing something through that wasn't properly tested. And I know that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talks about these issues. I know that I've watched interviews that he's talking about these issues, but the people are numb to it. Okay. They don't want to admit that they put something in their body that could be harmful. They block it out of their mind. All right. Uh, and they don't want to accept it. So what would they accept? They would accept, they would have no choice to accept that. How would you feel? You need to run a how would you feel campaign. How would you feel if you were all alone, suffering dearly, sick and dying, and you were put in isolation, denied the comforts of the home and the love and compassion you need, surrounded by those who love you? You were denied that. How would you feel? How would you feel if you're laying in your shit-filled diapers all night long, and nobody's coming to help you? How would you feel? How would you feel if you went to got some sort of treatment and Alexa stop and Alexa stop? How would you feel if you got some sort of treatment? Alexa stop. She's not listening. She's really starting to be a pain in the rump. How would you feel if you went again, broken record? How would you feel if you went and got some sort of a treatment and wound up disabled? What are you going to do? Nothing? Oh, well, doc made a mistake. No big deal. There are people now that are dealing with very serious health issues, okay, because there was something was put in their body that created those health issues. What's the consequences? People that I love died all alone in isolation. Patients I love dearly died all alone in isolation. Other people I love developed health problems. Other people I loved were brutalized, raped, and butchered by a corrupt healthcare system. Let's talk about that. Okay. Healthcare is the Achilles heel. That's their Achilles heel, I'm telling you right now, because we all have to deal with it, whether we like it or not. We're all going to die someday. We're all going to get sick someday. Unless we're lucky enough to suffer, unless we're lucky enough to die a sudden death, we're going to be hitting them beds. Okay. And I'm here to tell you, after 30 years of going into these places, having members of my own family basically butchered and raped because of a corrupt healthcare system, uh, it's a living hell on wheels, you know? And so if you start talking about this and say, look, is that what you want for your children, your grandchildren? Do you want that for yourself? Then let's work together to create a more humane system, okay, that puts love and compassion back into American healthcare so that when it's our turn, we're not going to be treated like animals and prison inmates waiting all night long to be changed, developing E. coli, MRSA, bed sores, rashes, infections, bloody blisters, and other complications that land us straight in ICU and in the grave. This is what I've witnessed over the years. What's the solution? The solution is a real movement. Okay, you can't have a campaign of this magnitude without marching, without having some type of protest, without having a real movement, okay? Because it's those tactics that get the world looking at you. When you're marching down the street with 2 million people and you have key speakers at the Lincoln Memorial, you'll have the whole world looking at you. But if you think the whole world's going to look at you on some cockamamie uh, news, what do you call it? Uh, I forget what it's called. You know what it's called. I forget what it's called. These news outlets that are on the internet. Now I'm going to waste time thinking about this. It's going to drive me nuts. Uh, I forget what it's called. You young kids know what it's called. I know what it's called. I can't think, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, you're going on these cockamamie news shows that nobody even watches. All right, how do you get the attention of the world? You march like Martin Luther King. You march like Gandhi did. You march like Chavez did. You get out there like your father did and go to the people. Okay, go to them. Okay. And then when they see that you got the courage and the will and the determination to reach out to the people in that regard, then they're going to follow you because they're going to say, you know, I mean, Trump is doing it. Biden isn't, but Trump is. Trump is going to the people. He's having these massive rallies. You need to go to the people and organize some sort of a march, you know, a march for freedom and justice, a march for healthcare reform. Healthcare reform is the Achilles heel. It is. And, you know, you've sued. RFK Jr. has sued the federal government and won. RFK Jr. has gone up against Big Pharma and won. RFK Jr. has gone up against corporate America and won. RFK Jr. has gone up against very, very corrupt companies and have won. All right. I mean, he started Water Keepers that now has 350 chapters around the world that cleans up waterways so we have safe, clean water and fish to eat, and you could swim in the water. No other politician in the history of this nation has done as much as RFK Jr. in that regard. Okay. And that needs to be the focal point, reminding people that you need to elect somebody that's proven to be a champion for hurting American families. RFK Jr. is a champion for hurting American families. He proved it. He's proved it. He sued the government because Fauci had said they can't prove that any of the vax have been placebo controlled tested. He sued the government and won. That right there needs to be constantly pounded, pounded, pounded. You sued they lied, okay? They lied. He sued the government and won. Okay, you need to make that. You just pound that, bring that home. That because it proves the federal government lied. He sued and he won. Okay, and if you just keep rolling on that over and over and over again and get that in people's thick skulls, they're going to see, hey man, this guy's got real courage. He stood up against the federal government, proved that they lied, and won. Okay, which means what? Means that they're liars. The other guys are liars. Okay, so that's my video. Good luck whoever watches this. Uh, it's serious business. People died that I loved, all alone in isolation. Nobody's talking about it. It was a violation of the Ninth Amendment. It's a violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It's a violation of our patients' rights, and it's a violation of our human rights under the Nuremberg Code of International Ethics. It's a violation, okay? And these things need to be brought out into the open, okay? That our elected officials broke their oath of office, and there needs to be consequences. We don't just reelect people. They break their oath of office, and millions of people get sick and die, and we're going to reelect them on a wish, on a whim. Party loyalty, blind party loyalty. Is this how it works in America? Who cares how many people die, just as long as my guy gets in? Has it turned into gangs, a gangland mentality? Oh, it doesn't matter what we do, just as long as our team wins. It doesn't matter how many people die, how many people suffer, how many people go through a living hell on earth. But as long as my man wins, it's okay. That's not right. Sooner or later, our turn comes up, and we're the people being brutalized and butchered and raped in these facilities. Okay, and you're laying in the bed staring at the ceiling, wishing you had done more when you had the chance. Well, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy laying in the bed at 3 o'clock in the morning with my shit-filled diapers, staring at the ceiling, wishing I had done more when I had the chance. I'm doing more now, every single day. I'm fighting for better quality of care. I'm helping people in need, okay? And more people need to do it. So remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I. You know, do do a study on Martin Luther King's tactics. Do a study on Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s tactics, JFK's tactics, Gandhi's tactics, Cesar Chavez tactics, and do it. Otherwise, we'll see you at Walmart as a greeter. Have a blessed day. Remember, Jesus loves you, and so do I.